Situated on the far south coast of New South Wales, on the sparkling Sapphire Coast, is the beautiful coastal village of Merimbula, bordered by 2 beautiful lakes and several stunning beaches. It's a virtual paradise for anglers with excellent fishing opportunities year-round, especially in late summer, when huge schools of Eastern Australian salmon begin to populate the coastal fringes. It hasn't always been that way though. Following excessive commercial fishing activities in the early 1980s, Eastern Australian salmon experienced a serious decline in numbers. Today, with considerably reduced fishing pressure, Eastern Australian salmon have made a comeback. Someone who's seen a positive change through the years is professional fisherman Jason Moyse, also known in Facebook and Instagram circles as Trapman. Jason is an ex-mullet spotter, but he's still on the water trap fishing almost every day. And he loves to catch salmon in his spare time. Today, I'm joining him on the hunt for Australian salmon with fishing rod and drone, starting at Tathra Beach. The technique's pretty simple. A nice spin stick, that's a 40-gram lure. This one here's got a couple of extra assist hooks on it, because sometimes I'll pick up a flathead or a dewey along the way. But for the salmon, you just move along and keep casting, enjoying that walk along the beach. And when you get to a school, you hope you can reach it, but along the way, you pick some up as well, and they tend to be really big this time of year. If only I could cast 50 metres further. Well, there's plenty there. They're just a little bit too far out, probably 150 metres, which is too big for a cast for us. Now, you sat here with the bait, eventually that school's going to come in, or we might catch a couple of what we call stragglers. That's that small group that you can't see with your tonics or the drone. But we've got something more fun. We're going to explore the coast, look for a school within casting range, because the hunt is half the fun. Without a drone, the best way to spot schools of Australian salmon is to find high ground. Mind you, they can be in close one day and gone the next. What's the verdict, Jason?
Cannot see a fish there, mate. Not one.
It's crazy. We're laughing because there were schools of fish here yesterday. We saw them with a drone, but we've come back up to the headland and we're using the tonics to look at Jason. You can tell there's no fish there?
Yeah, mate. I mean, with these, you're not looking on the water, you're looking into the water, so and there's just nothing there.
Tough to admit, but the salmon were outsmarting us. So we called in local big gun, Merimbula fishing legend Ian Convoy, also known as the Lord, and he graciously took us to one of his hot spots. Not a big one, so not too hard to lift, but there we go. An Australian salmon, just a middle-sized specimen. Beautiful fish, hard fighting, and they're unique to Australian and New Zealand waters, and they're just such a thick, solid fish. They're plentiful along the coast here and are making a big comeback. So there's the first salmon, and it hasn't been that hard. We've just turned up at the rocks and first cast. We're just going to try some spinning off the rocks with a 30-gram lure and a spin stick. No matter what type of fishing you do off the rocks, safety comes first. And the best advice I can give you is go with an experienced local. They understand the conditions, how slippery the rocks are, where the swell comes through, everything that you need to know to be safe. Now, we've checked the conditions, the swell's down, we've got a couple of locals with us fishing, so it's time to cast out and see what we catch. Just let it sink for a few seconds and then start your retrieve. Different fish like different speeds, but the salmon don't want it too fast usually. Sometimes they like it skipping across the top like I am now, other times you let it sink a bit. We'll see how we go. I'm on, right there. There you go. You ripper. There you are, good fun, he's going that way. We got him. As you can see, they're plentiful. The important thing with Australian salmon is they were underrated as a table fish, and they still are in some circles, and they're a sustainable catch because there's so many of them. We're chasing Australian salmon on the New South Wales Sapphire Coast, and we've found a hot bite on a rocky headland not far from Merimbula. The swell is low and we have a good safe location, perfect for catching this exciting sport fish. Oh yeah, they're chasing it. On. Here we go. One thing about fishing in pairs besides safety is also that usually there's someone always casting, which means if I'm landing a fish or taking a break, if a school goes past, your mate will get it. Another good reason to fish in pairs. But what I've got on there is a jig para micro jig, and you can see very easy to collect a feeder fish of this species, the Australian salmon, not related to the North American or Alaskan or Russian salmon that you get in the Northern Hemisphere. A completely different species. Now, Jason.
Yep.
Oh, that's just how prolific they are. When you find a school, you find plenty. You've been flying your drone along the coast here for 5, 6 years now?
Yep.
Are you noticing an increase in the numbers of these guys?
Oh, definitely. Look, some of the schools I've seen in the hundreds and hundreds of tonnes. They're getting in the estuaries and lakes and rivers now in big numbers. So yeah, there's plenty around.
Just fast schools of them. Since the cannery closed, they're building back in numbers.
They are, yep.
They've made a big comeback, and that's a good thing, isn't it?
It is. And we're getting fish up to 5, 6 kilos now. I mean, these are only tittlers compared to some that's getting around.
It's a fantastic sports fishery we have here on the New South Wales South Coast. If you are new to fishing, don't come down to the rocks. Go down to the estuary, catch them there where there's plenty. All the beaches, it's just a lot safer. The rocks can be dangerous, especially for newcomers, right?
That's for sure, yeah.
Oh, big salmon.
Definitely bigger.
Fingers crossed, we've got 20-pound leader on this, Jason. You've got to have your work cut out for you.
I am.
You're going to have to try and wash him for a little crevice. Fantastic sports fish for the Australian salmon, plentiful. They jump, they fight really hard for their size. Pound for pound, they're one of the best. I'll just get down in this little crevice and try and grab him. There's a proper one.
That is a proper one.
What are your guesstimates of the weight of that?
3 kilo at least.
Yeah. And they do get up to 8.5 kilo. And interestingly, the East Coast ones, which are not usually as big as the West Coast ones, are getting bigger, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
Great little tool. This is a Icky Jimmy brain spike. So if you get one, they have a chart which shows you where to spike the fish to put them to sleep really quickly. It's the most humane way to dispatch a fish, and it also stops the blood pumping around their body. So between that, bleeding them, keeping them nice and preparing them well later, that means you're going to have a first-class catch. It's the best way, especially with salmon. They're only a sort of 6, 7 out of 10 at best. I mean, they're great as Thai fish cakes. They're great in curries and different ways you can cook them. They're great fresh, but they're not like a bonito or a snapper or a flathead or other fish that you...
If you don't look after them, you get a very short shelf life, they call it, so...
And the most important thing is they're a sustainable catch. There's so many of them. What are you noticing about their movements here along the South Coast, mate? The Sapphire Coast in particular?
Oh, look, they're just... We call them in plague almost, you know. There are schools that just are blackening out estuaries. We've seen schools of hundreds up to thousands of tonnes. You see them 2, 3 miles out. I mean, we're only seeing them on the shore today, but, you know, they are in plague. They're a real healthy population. 1,000
tonne is, at a kilo each, is quite literally 1 million salmon. And, yeah, since the cannery closed, they are just booming in numbers.
They are.
What sort of food chain are you seeing follow them?
A lot more sharks, dusky whalers, bronze whalers, grey nurse, great whites, as some of my footage in the past have shown. It's great footage when you see it. Like, they dive in there and the fish just go nuts. It's awesome to watch.
This feels a bit different, mate.
Definitely a bonito, head shakes. Look, 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 look.
So different fish respond to different speeds of retrieve and different lures, and they fight different. Usually people would actually target the bonito over the salmon because they're a better table fish, especially fresh. There we go, we got him. They're still a prolific fish, but not quite as prolific as a salmon, right?
No, they don't hang in them mega schools like salmon.
But a good table fish if they're looked after?
They are. They're actually really good sashimi. They go pretty top price in the fish markets these days.
What a bycatch to have when you're chasing salmon, and you'll catch so many other fish along the South Coast just using this technique, right?
Just spinning off the rocks and beaches.
Aussie anglers and seafood consumers alike tend to catch and eat the fish they're familiar with. Because of this, some of the more popular fish species are becoming unsustainable. To help us better understand the sustainability of all our fish stocks, the Fisheries Research and Development Corporation, or FRDC, have designed a great online tool to enable all of us to quickly check if a wild fish, or in fact any seafood, is sustainable or not. It's called the status of Australian fish stocks.
The Status of Australian Fish Stocks provides evidence-based information for everyone. It doesn't matter whether it's the fisher on the water, the person who represents them in a club, the manager who's the manager of that stock in a particular agency. It gives them evidence to make some decisions. Do we need to do something about this stock? It's really important that we take a whole lot of information, and sometimes that can be decades of collecting that data, and present it in a way that's easy. And in the Status of Australian Fish Stocks, it's got a very easy stop light method, green, yellow, red. And so if you're really interested in fishing stocks, try and fish in that either recovering yellow or green area. So that's what we're always trying to encourage. We're also trying to encourage people to take a choice. Don't always fish for the standard fish, the flathead, the one that you've always fished. Look for alternatives. Australian salmon is one of those species that we would really encourage, because the fish is, first of all, a great fish to catch. You've fished them. It is a really great sports fish. It's great to eat, and it's a relatively easy fish for people to get access to. It's a great beach fishing fish. You can fish from a boat, you can fish from a jetty. So it has all those attributes which makes it a great angling stock.
So salmon have got the green tick. What about other fish that people want to catch or shop for around Australia? How do they check, for example, if snapper, flathead, tuna, golden perch are sustainable wherever they fish around Australia?
So first of all, Status of Australian Fish Stocks applies to everywhere. Freshwater, marine, estuarine, it's every stock that you would find important. Second one, it is a science-based report. It's peer-reviewed. It's updated every 2 years. Some stocks are actually updated within that 2 years period if we feel that there's a change in that stock. In other words, it's either declined or gone up. So it's really important that that information is timely. Second way, we in the science community have gone online, right? So we've gone digital. We've made the information as easy as possible. Green, yellow, red. How easy as it is now to make a decision about what you want to do as an angler. We're really trying to encourage people to focus on stocks that are green, and focus maybe even on stocks that are yellow and recovering. But really think about that choice. If our preference is for people not to fish in the red if possible. But like all things, we understand that people have their preferences. In terms of the state of fish stocks, one of the most important things is to look at the story it tells. So it doesn't just tell the story of 2025, it also tells the story of 2010 to 25. And so as an angler, you can be confident that we're actually providing you not just the status now, but the trends in that stock. We've had some wonderful stories. Southern bluefin tuna, just a wonderful story of going to 4% of its original biomass. It's now over 25%. It's now just about to get the highest level of sustainability standard the world can get for that stock in Australia. And so science does work, but it only works when we work with anglers on the water. As scientists, we've moved into the digital age. It's really important that people have information at their fingertips. There is an app in the world of apps. There is an app. It doesn't have as much information as the online version you can get through your computer at home. But clearly it's enough information, so if you're on the water, you can collect that information. You'll hear lots of stories about a certain species. In some areas, it could be really, really plentiful. In another area, it's not. So if you're on holiday, just check, because where you were, it could have been really plentiful, but where you've gone, it might not be. So, have a think about what you might be fishing. But again, looking at the science rather than listening to the pub talk is really important. And, make sure that if you are going to make a comment about a fish stock, maybe look at the science first. More and more right now, we need anglers to participate, to give us that information, because we are having to currently rethink all of our models and how we manage our fish stocks. So building up the angler-based data is going to be really critical to fisheries science in the next 20 years.
We can all play our part by visiting and using the Status of Australian Fish Stocks website at fish.gov.au. You can also download the app. Just search up SAFS Sustainable Fish Stocks in the Apple App Store or Google Play. Keep yourself informed. Merimbula is one of those gorgeous coastal towns I just keep coming back to. It's perfect for a family holiday or anyone who loves the coastal lifestyle. Now that's a view. You can look out to sea here and see anything that swims past the open ocean here. Whales, seals, dolphins, sharks, all species of fish. The NRMA Merimbula Beach Holiday Resort is in one of the best locations on the Sapphire Coast. And a lot of accommodation on offer too. You've got lake view, beach view, big family cabins like this, high-end luxury clifftop escape ones, glamping, powered sites, and everything in between. And a lot of activities for the whole family. And you can even walk into town from here. It's really ideally located and probably one of my favourite parks. I've stayed here a few times and the whole family absolutely loves it. Now, Merimbula's waterways don't just produce great fish. The shellfish here are pretty awesome too. Wheelers here is famous on the Sapphire Coast. You've got an oyster bar behind me. We've got a takeaway here. The beautiful restaurant all overlooking the lake where the oysters came from. You can even take an oyster tour to see how these delicious oysters are farmed and produced. Plenty to do on the coast, but if you need a break from the sun, try Club Sapphire, where amongst other things, you and the family can try your hand at barefoot bowls.
All right, trying to get it as close to the white ball. That's actually not too bad. That's a great first bowl.
That was a fluke. The beauty of the bowls here is, well, it's barefoot, it's unpretentious. You come down with your family and friends. You can have a bite to eat at the club. There's 2 restaurants, there's a gym, but mate, what do you love about the bowls down here?
I love the social side of it. You know, all ages can come down and play, and I really love playing it.
Club Sapphire is a community club, so the fact that they have a fabulous garden which benefits the community makes a lot of sense. Who gets to use the garden here?
Well, the members, the volunteers here are all volunteers. They take home vegetables. The local food bank gets vegetables. Yeah. The community can come in and buy, and that's our source of funding for seeds and infrastructure costs. And local restaurants, particularly the club, when they're played up, just for that extra zing.
Oh, alongside the fresh local seafood. What a great initiative for the community from Club Sapphire. It's wonderful. If you're in Merimbula, Club Sapphire is definitely worth a visit. Now back to the ongoing hunt for Aussie salmon, this time on Merimbula's main beach. And there are 2 huge schools of salmon just beyond casting range. I'm happy to wait, but considering just how frustratingly out of reach they've been all day, Trapman has other ideas. There's a school of salmon tantalisingly close. There's a shallow sandbank and they won't come over it until the tide gets a bit higher. We can see there's nothing in the gutter here quite clearly, so Jason's going to wade out and see if he can reach him on a cast. He's on! He's on! This is wild. We can see with the sunnies that there's no sharks or dangerous stuff in the gutter here. He's waded out to the shallow bank and cast into the school. So he's well short of the big school, but he knows he's safe there. He's done a lot of it. Look at this guy go. He's loving it. He's out there in the surf, soaking wet, reeling in a massive salmon. And he's coming in, and what a beautiful day for it. It's hot down here at the beach on the Sapphire Coast. And yeah, this is Australia all over. He's on his back, on surfing. Oh, mate, you've covered yourself in glory. That was so entertaining to watch. Let's have a look at this ripper Aussie salmon. A beautiful fish, mate. Oh, look, it's got a bit of a...
Shark bite.
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what. Now, these fish are making a comeback, and it's feast or famine, but just today, they're just a bit wide for us, mate.
They are, yeah.
Is this the hardest salmon you've ever caught?
Absolutely. I can't even speak.
Tell me about the normal situation. You walk down the beach with your daughter Indy, who's like 11. How many do you normally catch?
5 casts, 4 fish, and go home.
Well, mate, that's fantastic. And look, this is one we're not going to forget, mate. It's a beautiful time of year for a fish. All right. Fishing in Merimbula is a popular pastime with tourists and locals alike.
The beauty of this place is that no matter where the wind or swell is going, you can always find a protected little pocket and headland to be able to fish or jump in for a dive. Can be a little bit intimidating, simply just being surrounded by walls of salmon. It's absolutely epic, but you just never know what's going to be on the other side, so just got to have your wits about you, I suppose. We get regular clear water visibility, we get regular swell conditions to be able to have a flick off the rocks or off the beach, so we're very blessed.
I hope we've done a bit to help you realise that Australian salmon are not just a sport fish. They're also an affordable and sustainable table fish worth considering. So next time you catch one, care for it properly and give it a try. As for Merimbula and the Sapphire Coast, well, it speaks for itself. It's a truly amazing part of Australia, which is why I just keep coming back.